said, clearing up the drama with Wanda.
Hey, it's me, Wanda B, and you are tuned in to Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. It is Sunday. It's fun day. This is one of my favorite days of the week. I've always liked Sundays. It's like, well, I know some people don't like because Monday is coming, but Mondays don't necessarily bother me that much. So I must say that I like Sundays. It's a relaxed day. The day doesn't start where I have to get up and go anywhere. I mean, if you go to church, you probably got your praise on and then you're feeling good because now you got the word and you're ready to go out and save the world, conquer the world and be great. So I just love the day. So today is Sunday and I'm here at IntellectualRadio.com. My favorite station. You guys, so many different shows, and that's kind of what I'm going to talk about today. Today's show, He Said, She Said, is brought to you by Allstate. Whether you need auto, home, or life insurance, I would love for you to give Sal a call. He'll help you out. I've been with Sal for, I think it's been over 20 years. Yeah, my oldest daughter's 21. So yeah, over 21 years. So give him a call. He really cares. So that's Allstate. 708-599-5100, 708-599-5100. So I have with me today, because I talked about we have other great shows here at Intellectual Radio. I am here with Tiff. Now, Tiff has been part of the Intellectual Radio family for many years, but this fall, we have a fantastic fall lineup, and Tiff is included. Her show is going to be, when is your show, Tiff?
This Wednesday.
Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
You start this Wednesday?
Yep.
Oh, sugar now.
Time
So
is
the
flying.
talk of the day with Tiff and Ray is going to be this Wednesday.
Yes.
3:00, right?
3 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your show. I'm telling you, August, we're bringing the heat in August. Besides, Tiff actually is going to be kicking us off our fall season this Wednesday, and I'm going to mention a few of the other shows that'll be starting this fall. But Tiff, of Talk of the Day with Tiff and Ray, tell us a little bit about what that's going to be about.
Well, it's going to be real life conversations, such as like we are talking about today. Those are real conversations that we need to deal with as far as children, marriage, relationships, business partners, friendships, ministry, all sorts of testimonies, people that have lost loved ones, lost their sons in the midst of Chicago's murders and so forth. We're going to have all topics going on because that's what's needed. That's what's needed. Of course, we're going to apply. We're going to always keep God first. We're going to apply the biblical part of the word and apply it to each and everything that we're going through and see, and that the people are going through and see, and we're going to show where that it applies and where it can help. It can help,
where the word can help in your daily life.
It can help in your daily life. Yes.
So would you say, we have a plethora of genres of shows here at Intellectual Radio, sports, entertainment, a lot of mental health is coming up. We have faith, where I'm going with this is, besides all our other genres of shows, would you say that yours is faith-based, if I categorized or no? Or what would you, in the category of the lineup of shows at Intellectual Radio, what would you put yours under?
I would put it up under faith-based base, but also just being, I've come to a conclusion. See, the little time I've been gone, I got sick, and then as you all can see, last time you saw me, I was scrawny, right? I was so small. Now I look like I ate up everything, right? I ate up everything.
No, we're not gonna let you do that here on He Said, She Said. We wanted to be on IntellectualRadio.com. You will not be talking about yourself today. Not today. You look fabulous. They ain't never seen you before, probably on this. Yeah. So this all they know you as, fabulous. Okay. So you're just fabulous. But go ahead.
But yeah, so doing those, it's been like 2 years, right?
Has it been 2 years?
It's been 2 years.
So what Tiff is referring to is she had a show here at Intellectual Radio 2 years ago. What's the name of it, Tiff? We were trying
It
to
was
think of
It's
it
All
earlier
About
today.
You.
All About You. And
Mhm.
so she's familiar with the Intellectual Radio family. So she's just coming back home. She went off for a little while. You said you went through an illness and you're
Yes,
better now.
yes,
And
yes,
and
yes,
bringing all your wellness back to us now.
yes, yes. And so, even applying that, this one scripture that says, I would that you be in good health, that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prosper. So God spoke that to me in the midst of my healing journey. So I had to seek out, what do you mean? Like, you wish that I would be in health, in good health, and prosper, even as my soul prosper. So in other words, he didn't just want me prospering in the finances or in the outside world, but he wanted the inside of me, whole, the character, the Tiffany, the lady, the woman, the girl. He wanted that part of me to prosper and heal right along with my body.
I love that. I want that too, guys. Send me that message too. So I love that, to heal from the inside
Yes.
out. Because honestly, if you do that, you're a different person. If your insides are well, it exudes out.
Think about it. We all are striving to become something. We're all becoming something. Whether it's an entrepreneur, I mean, all together, entrepreneur. You want to be an author, you want to be a dancer, you want to be a singer, you want to be a writer, you want to be a preacher, a pastor. But okay, so that's the outside prosperity. That's what we all see. That's what people can see. But in reality, we can't really see what's going on the inside unless something happens that triggers that, unless something occurs in a situation, a conversation. And sometimes it'll trigger and you'll be like, oh, okay.
Oh,
I didn't
you feel
know
that.
that was there.
Right.
I didn't, or we'll point the finger. I didn't know that person was like that. So that's the part of prosperity that God really wants, because if we can prosper there, then we'll be able to manage everything else around, in our surroundings.
I love it. I can't wait. I cannot wait for Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on IntellectualRadio.com so you guys can listen to Talk of the Day with Tiff and Ray. And so I feel inspired and empowered just from that little bit she gave me. Ran into Tiff in the store and I walked out of there like, yeah, about to conquer the world. So she'll do that for you. So and from such a place that you don't feel talked down to, or I don't know the different ways I would like to say how it is, but you feel the love when you speak to people. You feel that it comes from a place of love, no judgment, no. You feel it's so authentic.
I believe because I was that person before. I was that religious person before, not on purpose, but that was how I was taught. And sometimes we can believe that the way we were taught, if mom and dad taught us that they taught us the right way. And I'm not saying my mom and my dad taught me that, but I'm saying that's what I picked up in my journey of life. I picked up the judgmental spirit. I picked up this religious spirit. And then, but we forget you reap what you sow. And so when it started to come back on me and people did it to me, it didn't feel good. It was hurtful. It was, disgracing. And so God had to sit down and reteach me. And so as I relearn that we are all here and living by grace, every day we have new mercy and new grace. So why we can't give each other grace? Why can't I give you grace? If you fail, why can't I give you grace? If you made a mistake, why can't I give you grace? Because now I realize I needed grace and I didn't know it.
What I find with myself a lot of times, unfortunately, is I don't give myself grace, and that's why I don't give it to others.
Wow.
And so I've really had to learn, and I'm still working on this. Woo, he working on me. I'm still working on this because this is very hard for me to give myself grace. So because I expect so much, and I've only thought of this recently when my children don't always tell me certain things. And I was like, why don't they feel comfortable coming to me with this? And I was like, why don't they feel comfortable coming to me? And then I thought sometimes with my friends that they've maybe told another friend something. When I feel like I'm approachable, you can come to me and tell me if you're having an issue with me. I feel I'm like, what? Why can't they? And then I had to ask myself, so why don't they? Why don't they? And then I thought, well, I must make them feel, or not make them, because I think we have control over how we, but they must feel a certain way when they come to me that I'll do something. And what is that? And then I thought, well, why is that? And then I was like, they must feel I'll judge them. And so then I thought, well, I do judge myself. And then and so so sometimes I feel they're worthy to have that judgment because I expect that much of myself as well. And I go, and that's not working for me.
No, it's not. Because you have to give yourself grace. You have to give yourself room to fall. You have to give your mate room to fall. They have to give you the same.
They
grace.
have to give you room to fall. And I thought about that. So true.
I have 3 sons. Imagine 3 sons, not one girl, not one female at all. So I grew up on the hard west side of Chicago, in gangs, selling drugs or whatever. And so I was tough and I was rough. And so I was hard on my sons, to be men.
This world is hard.
Yeah,
and you
because
have
it's
to
hard.
be
So
tough.
you have to be tough. And so I was just like you, my sons, my oldest, don't judge me. They 28, 29, 30. So I have 3 sons and I had them all in a row. I was pregnant 3 years straight, y'all. I was miserable, right? Then
got it over
then
with,
Joyce got it over with, right?
right?
But they are now, like maybe in the last 2 years, able to have a drink around me, in front of me. They smoke marijuana and they weren't able to do none of those things in my presence,
And
even as an adult.
I will tell you that's exactly how I came to that when my daughter told me that my older son, who's 30, so he's wanted to go to a dispensary. He has different things, and he was talking to her, but he didn't want me to know. And I was like, what did he think I would? I feel I'm understanding, and you definitely have things that you could utilize. And then I go, so why doesn't he want to tell me? And I thought I didn't want to tell my father. There was things I hid from my father.
You might disappoint him.
I didn't want to disappoint him. And I was like, so he doesn't want to disappoint me. And I didn't want to disappoint my father. Then I thought, why didn't I want to disappoint him? And it was the expectations, the great expectations he had of me.
Yes.
And I still to this day fight to meet those expectations. I really do. I'm about to tear up because it recently lost my father in December.
Oh, wow.
And that to make him proud though. But then would he have just been proud with who I was? And am I proud of my son? Who he is today? I am. And so that's what made me say, okay, well, I'm putting this on him too. That he can't come to me and tell me something that he feels he has to sneak and hide. And I know, I was like, it's something I've made him feel that he has to do that. And my daughter once went to her father before she came. I was the last to know in the family. I'm like, why do they think I would need to be the last to know?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's some feeling. And then I bring those kind of people in my life even. I'm with people who have these expectations that make me feel bad about myself.
Yep.
And then I'm walking around and I was like, they make me feel bad about being me.
Imagine this, me being in ministry, probably for the last I've been saved for like 17 years. My sons were already in church with my mom while I was still on the street selling drugs and doing drugs or whatever. So when I finally came into the kingdom of God and they had to go to church with me now and follow me, and they got deep into church as well. So imagine this, my youngest son, I said they're 28, 29, 30. Imagine finding out all of this time that your youngest son is a homosexual. But yet he's operated in a church, he's prayed, he's laid hands, he's prophesied, he was deep into, he did all of these things, but yet he had this secret that he couldn't tell or share with me.
Or even share with the church.
Exactly. So he ended up back to the street. And then when it finally came out, I took his process personal.
Yeah,
that was his process and his journey. And the shame, I tried to bring the shame upon myself.
Oh, I do that
and the
too.
Guilt upon myself on what did I fail as a mother? How did this happen? Who did it?
Who did it? What happened? Oh my gosh.
And I beat myself up until he texted me, because we were texting this, because we weren't, bold enough to talk about this. And he texted me and was like, I'm grown. And when he texted me that was like a knife. And so that was my freedom. That was my deliverance. He had to tell me, I'm grown. I'm an adult. Let me go.
Yes.
And I said, he won't have to tell me he grown again. That's what he won't have to do, you know. And from there, I was able to let him go. And now I like our conversations as far as with him and his partner. I love both of them, you know. And God taught me that I had no love. I was judgmental because I can love my son, but I can't love a homosexual. I didn't want to love the homosexuality in my son, but I only wanted to love my son. I couldn't love a part of him and not love the whole him.
That's deep.
Because love is God. God is love. It's a part of him and not love the whole him.
That's deep.
Because love is God. God is love. So how we're going to say we love God and yet we can't love, you know, our
Which
children.
only goes to show that we also probably don't love a part of
Oh,
ourselves.
that's it. That's it.
I mean, it really goes to show we don't love a part of ourselves, whatever it is, or even if we feel we've gotten to the place that we're okay with it and we're over it, we still carry that shame about that portion of it. I mean, and we're over, we know
Yeah.
we're speaking about it, but at the same time, it is very hard to totally get rid of being hard on yourself for doing, and we find new things to be hard on ourselves for.
I was just going to say that. I was listening to Joyce Myers, right? I like
Okay.
her ministry. I was listening to Joyce Myers actually yesterday, and she was talking about this world isn't our home. So, in other words, we're going to always keep finding things about ourselves. Even when we fix the other thing, we're going to find something else. And if we're going to fix this, we're going to find something else. And if we talk about we don't have enough people in the ministry, now she said she got hundreds of thousands of people following her. She still found something else that was wrong with her. If my house not big enough, now I got a bigger house and now I need somebody to clean it. And then I found something else wrong with me. And she said, God had to talk to her and say, you know, you're going to there's going to be some imperfect because you're not home. Home is where he is. So we're going to always keep lacking somewhere where we want to be perfect all the way. But the whole 100% and completeness is in him is when we go home. That's no more pain.
So how
no more
do we
drama.
stop being ourselves over the imperfections of now, though? I find that to be so hard, and I find that as much as I try to work on it, I'm constantly reminded of you don't do this right, you don't do that right, and that I internalize that so deeply. I'm
So
not
you have
someone
to come
who can
against
let
that
it in and out
voice.
one ear.
You have to come against that voice. I can only do all things through Christ. You see, which strengthens me. He the one gives me strength in the morning. I wake up with new mercy, new grace. So if he has just told me, Tiff, today a new day, yesterday is over with and gone. What you did yesterday is you're under new mercy today. You're under new grace today. So in other words, you have room to mess up today now. You know, you have, you know,
Give it
not
grace.
purposely, but yeah, you still have room. You're gonna flunk something, and you're gonna also learn something.
And I want to continue to grow and be better. I don't want to spend this whole time fighting. Yes, I'm not going to be perfect, but I do not want to spend the time I have here fighting demons. I don't want to.
We don't, but we will because we're in a world
of
sick.
It's fighting our. I want to get better with some of these traumas. I know
exactly, and you can, and you
will.
will.
Tools. I want to have the tools to repair the traumas as I meet them and as I go along.
Yeah.
I want the proper tools to say, okay, I'm feeling this way. Why? And get to the root of that. And then say, okay, well, what am I going to do when I feel this way again? Because I'm going to feel this way again. I mean,
and that's good because you're addressing it. You're addressing it. I went for years mistreating myself and mistreating others until I came into the knowledge of what I was doing. I went to the maker and said, hey, I don't like how I treat myself. I don't like how I just responded to this person. Why am I responding to this person? What's in me? And see, now that's when the work starts.
And I love that work. This show is about that work, guys. He said, she said, what Wanda be is about that work. And I say, coming to IntellectualRadio.com this fall is more shows that help you do the work. Now, son, we got some comedy coming. Yeah. We have a couple of shows that are going to be super funny. So I don't want to say it's all going to be Trump, but we have the shows that are going to make you better, make you laugh. So I'm really excited about the upcoming shows, and I appreciate because your show is going to be a little bit of what we're talking about now,
And laughter too,
and
because
laughter
laughter is a
too.
medicine. That's the scripture. That's the word. See,
What word is that? I don't know my word. I'm gonna be honest. But I grew up in the Catholic church. Anybody grew up in Catholic church? You don't learn it that way. You just don't. They don't teach it that way.
Laughter is actually a medicine.
Is it?
Yes. The more your heart is happy, the more healing, because you're able to laugh. Imagine being sad all the time and down. Then you go deeper into it. You go deeper into it. You know.
But when you laugh, it lightens it and brings it to a different place.
Exactly. So if they don't believe that God anointed those comedians, something wrong with them.
Definitely a gift. Definitely a gift from God. And as I talk about comedians, I'm going to bring up Alonzo Ruffin because he is one of the funniest. If you're not familiar with him, I would love for you to go to YouTube and Google some of his characters because this guy's a character and he's coming to IntellectualRadio.com Mondays at 8 p.m. And I'm excited because I'm telling you, he has kept me laughing. He is a character. Look him up on YouTube right now. So when he said he's going to have like a variety of things he's going to be talking about, but he is funny. I really, really, really cannot wait for some of the shows coming up this August. So check out his show, Alonzo Ruffin. He is a comedian and he has tons of work out there for you to look at and get familiar with what he does. But he's going to be on Intellectual Radio Mondays at 8 p.m. So guys, I haven't seen the comments. I don't know. Are you able to see if there are any comments? Y'all know my laptop. Y'all said, girl, you ain't been on, you ain't fixed this laptop. Me and my laptop, we had this relationship. We don't be working out well together. I swear we don't. I'm trying to work with her. And I don't know, maybe I had to get a fix. Maybe she needs therapy. We gonna see what she needs to work on because she and I, we have it out. So me and my computer are having this little relationship where I can't see my comments right now, but I'm going to work on that as we move along. So you're listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. I'm going to be making you familiar with some of the shows that are coming up in our fall lineup on Intellectual Radio, and as well as go into our topic. So I'd love to hear what you think about this topic. We're going to be talking about, and we kind of touched on it a little bit as we brought up our children and our obligations to our children. So what we're talking about, and I'm going to find it. Me and my laptop, you guys, I'm telling you, she when I come on, she here. This is her comedy for the day, watching me try to navigate through all the little things she does as I go about the day. So whatever, we gonna have fun, laptop. I see what you're doing, okay? So we're gonna talk about, are we obligated to take care of our children after the age of 21? What obligations are there? I also like to kind of throw in there, are there any obligations to taking care of us after the age after they're 21 and grown and on their way? Or what expectations should they have or not have any? Or is it do it at your will? So that's what I would like to talk about. And if you want to chime in, you can call in 708-223-8953. Or I love your comments in the section if you're following He Said, She Said with Wanda B on Facebook, my fan page. I love you. I'm trying something new now that I'm coming back for the fall season. Going to be trying going from that page from now on. So make your way over there, like that page or subscribe, or what is the term for Facebook when you go to the fan page? Do that for me, please. I would really appreciate it. So we're going to talk about, are we obligated to take care of our children after the age of 21? So why this came up is there's been a lot in the news about Dr. Dre, and I had it pulled up so I could go to it easily, and it's not pulled up. So we're just going to politely find the topic so I can, if you haven't heard about it, so I can recap you just a little on what is going on. So Dr. Dre's oldest daughter has gone to the media, and the day that I read it, she had gone to every gossipy and every media outlet. So Dr. Dre's oldest daughter has shared that she is currently homeless and not receiving any help from her hip hop mogul father. So her name is LaToya Johnson. She's 35, and she says she is living out of a rental car. and she's doing Uber Eats, she's doing DoorDash, and she's working at a warehouse job to make the ends meet. She said her father, who is worth $800 million, was helping her financially, but he abruptly stopped helping her in January 2020 because she had spoken to the media about him. His lawyer has said that my dad doesn't want to help me because I've spoken about him in the press, she said. I feel like I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. Johnson says she has continually tried to reach out to him, but cannot do so personally and has to go through his team. Johnson hasn't seen her father in 18 years. Wow. Even when he was hospitalized due to having a brain aneurysm in 2020, Johnson said she has been trying to see if he was okay. Trying to see if he was okay was like pulling teeth. But she found the way to get that money. I'm sorry, I'm throwing that in there. But y'all, my computer. I'm reading. I'm gonna make this work. Okay, here we go. Johnson said she's trying to see if he was okay. If he was okay was like pulling teeth. Johnson, who moved from Las Vegas to California in hopes of finding a better job, said due to her financial struggles, she has fallen behind in her rental car payments and fears she will lose the car soon. The car is a pretty penny, she said. It's an SUV that cost $2,300 for 3 weeks, and I only paid for 1 week. Sooner or later, they're going to take the car. Johnson, who is a single mother of 4, said due to her current hardships, her 4 children are currently staying with friends as she tries to gain some stability. Her teenage children are well aware of who their grandfather is, and Johnson said they can't believe he won't help her or build a relationship. I'm just trying to communicate with him and see if he wants to talk to his grandkids, she added. My kids are old enough to know who he is. They are in shock. And if he doesn't want anything to, and they are in shock that he doesn't want anything to do with them. So this is the family saga that is going on with Dr. Dre. Now, I want to ask you this because I've come under fire myself about talking about this topic. I have a Facebook group, He Said, She Said. Just like the show, look for the bumblebee colors, yellow, because I'm wanting to be the yellow and black on Facebook. Join that Facebook group. We have these discussions throughout the week. We have a kind of community of people that we have these discussions, and then I usually bring them to the show. And if you ever want to be a guest on my show, you can call 708-223-8953 and leave that message there or talk to me there and let me know, or you can inbox me on Facebook because I'd love to have you or if you have a topic you'd like to bring up. But I was told when I brought up this topic that I was bashing men. I had found a way to promote a story that was bashing men. Now, I will say it wasn't really my finest moment. I had the time that day, and I didn't woo-saw first. I didn't do any meditation, so I kind of lashed out at it. I'm sorry. I said I was sorry, but then I went hard. I didn't go too softly on this, and he took offense to it, and so now having Miss Tiff, who is going to have me work with giving him grace. And I am going to work on giving this story grace as I talk about it. But I still feel like they're public people. So I'm going to touch on that first. Do you feel like we're wrong to even discuss this topic? What do you feel about that? Because he felt like I was exploiting men being seen in a negative light by even discussing this topic.
Well, it's already out there. It's not like you brought out something that was
I didn't break the story.
Or you were the first right. It's already out there. I read it. I saw it. And I read the same thing you read. And I was in total shock as well. But then I'm thinking, what's the real story behind it all, So
then we're going to go into that. Now, we don't know, of course, the real story behind it all. We're going to give our perspectives of the topic in a general sense. And then as it relates to us and us taking care of our children, because we all have children. No, we all don't have children, but and that's if you have children, and as they age, or you may have been the child that has asked for assistance from your parents. So you may have touched on this or know someone who has. So we're going to talk about it from the angle. I kind of feel like this is a public story. Like you said, I didn't break the story. As I told the guy, he can go look on TMZ. I'm at Yahoo Life right now. He could go look at Dear Nikki. he could go to page 6. I looked at all the places where the daughter herself put the story out.
Right.
So I didn't break the story. Unfortunately, Dr. Dre's daughter felt she wanted to, again, if he was mad about her put it in the media, I guess she decided she was going to do it one more time and brought it to the media. And
But how is it shown as making a man? To me, I don't see that part as it making men look bad. I don't see that. When I read the story, I didn't see that as a topic for men. I saw that as a situation with him and his daughter.
I did too,
You know?
and I didn't think Dr. Dre necessarily, like I told him, Dr. Dre is a millionaire. He doesn't necessarily represent all men. Yes, this scenario could be, but but I also told him it was never my intention to do that. I mean, just first off, it wasn't my intention to try to. My goal with He Said, She Said, the group, Facebook group, as well as the show, is for us, the he's and the she's, to find a way to communicate better, hear each other, and maybe we come to some solutions on how to navigate this life better. So this is a scenario, yes, it's Dr. Dre, but this can be transplanted into our own life, whether we're not billionaires, we may be thousandaires, but our kids are still asking us for $10. So it is and they get to be a certain age and expect things from us. So it could be that we're in these same scenarios. So it was more to have a conversation that maybe I understand Dre better based on what guys tell me. If he said to me, well, this is maybe why he stopped, then I go, okay, that makes sense, and vice versa. Right. But more people were really mad at the daughter. So I don't see where it made guys look badly, because many people felt like the daughter was a little bit wrong for what she was doing. And so this comes into our topic. What age are we obligated to keep taking care of our children? She's 35 years old, and he's helped in the past. And it seems like he's helped without even physically seeing her.
Right. 18 years.
18 years, and she hasn't even taken care of her. And not that, excuse me, I know when we talk about, I don't think you have to be paying to see your child. If you don't pay a dime, you should have a relationship with your child. So I'm not necessarily tying those two together. But she was accepting money and now wants to throw out, I haven't even seen him in 18 years, but you were okay accepting his money without seeing him for 18 years.
Because even when you was getting the money, if you wanted to put him out there, you say, hey, he's paying, he's taking care of me, but I want to see my father.
I want to see you. I don't want the money. I want you.
Exactly. So that's what that might be what's his problem. We don't know, like we said, the true foundation of what's really going on, but he may be tired of just dishing out money, and you are in your third, and we don't know how she's living, what type of lifestyle, what are you doing with the money? He probably feel like I gave you enough. What are you doing? It's now we're going back to our children. Being an entrepreneur, he's an entrepreneur. He's a gifted man, so he find ways to run his business. Using his gift to make money.
He didn't come into money. He wasn't born into money.
Exactly.
He worked to get to this.
But yet
place.
She was born into his money, and it may be crippling her. At 30-something years old now. Come on, girl, you should be doing something.
And someone posted in the group, and like I said, please join the group. We love to have you in there. He said, she said, and like this page, I don't know if you have access to my fan page, but I'd love for you to stay connected with us here. So someone asked this question. I was like, I never thought of it from this way, which I absolutely love about the group, is that a guy commented and said, do these millionaires, billionaires, should they be teaching their children more financial, because they are born into money?
Right.
Should they then maybe give them more financial literacy classes? Because how do they really learn?
I agree. But how he can't teach her anything if they haven't seen each other.
Right.
The only thing he's taught her is how to hold her hand out. To be honest, that's what she fell in love with, her dad's hand.
And she, in turn, is teaching her children this, because she comes back to say, my children, they're teenagers and they know who he is. They shouldn't know who he is based on the money. They should know who he is based on being the dad, your dad, their grandfather, and she never mentions they know him based on his love or meeting him. Because if you haven't seen him in 18 years, I'm assuming they haven't maybe seen her. I don't
At
want to
all.
assume that, but
Yeah.
let's say that maybe in the calculation
Right.
of this timeline, they also haven't seen him. So why build this negative view of him to his grandchildren based on his money?
Well, there's a lot missing in this case. As far as where's mom's missing and the father of those children are missing.
Because they
He's
also
just
could
the
be with their father.
grandfather.
Right. Why does it go back
He's
to
just the
lineage to
grandfather.
him?
He's not obligated to put them to keep paying $2,300 every 3 weeks to live in a truck when that's a mortgage for some of us.
And we don't know how much he actually was paying.
We don't know what he's paying, but we know what
at-
she said.
to
that
January
truck is.
2020. We don't know how much he had already given her. He may have already given her enough to own a house. He may have already given her enough to own a car, enough money that you could have owned the car already. $2,300 a month definitely is a payment on a car. I mean, that you can't even go back and say, well, instead of renting, I'll lease and rent to own it or something, because that's a hefty chunk.
And like you just mentioned, the financial literacy. Someone isn't teaching you something. Okay, we see, I guess, where he's not in your life to teach you. So someone is this. I mean,
What age do you teach yourself?
You had to get that, and you had to get this habit from somebody else.
Right.
You had to learn from somebody.
And we don't know the relationship with her mother
Right.
and Dr. Dre, because sometimes that is learned behavior even
Yes.
from your mother. And why some women, not all, of course,
Yeah.
but some women, their initial relationship with someone of money is, and I don't know, this is his oldest child, so maybe he didn't have that in the beginning.
Right.
So we don't know, and we're absolutely saying, let me say that our opinions, Tiff and I, are not
Yes,
those of
we're guessing.
IntellectualRadio.com. We know we're making some assumptions, but only based on what we've read. We're not privy to any other information. I don't know Dr. Dre, and then I had someone say to me, "Well, if you knew what happened to him with Miss Chalet, then you feel differently." And I don't know it. I don't follow stars to that. I'm from topic to topic, and we're kind of talking about this topic because it's trending right now in the news, so that's why we're bringing it up on He Said. So this is not the station saying anything about Dr. Dre, and this is truly our just opinion of what we've read. And at 35 years old, when do you stop saying my dad is the fault that I'm in this situation? Even what you're a parent. When do you become responsible for your children and stop looking back that way and say, like, almost saying like your son said, I'm grown. I mean, cutting the strings yourself.
Yeah.
When do you become grown and not have these expectations of your father? Or should she? So that's kind of where I want to. What do you think? Is that something that should happen?
I would say she should, but then my son being a male and her being a female, and I'm only saying by view of what I've watched and how I watch men do this to their daughters. Whatever she calls, they give. I want to be the one to give it to her. I don't want her having to go ask men for money, but you're actually teaching her how to ask men for money. You're not teaching her how to get up, get out, do and be something. You're just feeding her hand. If she needs help, I don't see anything wrong with helping her, but there's a difference between helping and enabling.
And at this point, she absolutely sounds like someone who's been enabled for all those years that he didn't see her and just gave her money to January 2020. Mm-hmm. But he also runs a fine line, unfortunately, of still being judged wrongly for not giving. Because a lot of people said, oh, you're a billionaire, just keep giving to her. So, I mean, it's kind of like, but if you need to cater to her as a person, not tied to the money. If she was anybody else without money, you would give her those tools to go out in the world
To go, that's right.
and be productive. And I know for me, I don't want my children to have to need me. And it's not that I don't have the money to do it, is that it won't help them the rest of their life if they're looking back for me. I need to have them have a skill set that they can go out in the world and be okay. If I'm gone tomorrow,
That's right. That's
I
the
need them to
purpose.
thrive.
That's the purpose.
And right now at 35, if she's like, "Oh, I can't make it," and my dad has all this money, even her children don't even see you thriving themselves. And so how then even the next generation now is kind of set with the same mindset that I should be my grandfather should be giving me something so I can make it, and I know who he is and he has the money, instead of saying mommy's working and I'm going to make this work. I don't know.
The children, this is an entire different culture, and they are cut from a whole nother cloth. They don't know anything about struggle. They don't know a thing about struggle. It's like, handout, everything has been a handout. Just remember when we were children, we were happy to get a Barbie doll, a microwave, a little microwave oven, the little bake thing, 25 cents just to go to the store. Now the grandchildren want $25. They don't want 25 cents. No, there's no more penny candy.
Right.
They don't know anything about going outside, playing. They're in front of laptops, computers. Babies have iPhones now.
There's no deliver newspapers to get money, mow the lawn to get the money for this. I can't have the iPhone unless I come up with X amount of money to have it. It should be given. So I think this falls in line with Dr. Dre as well. Do you think when you have more, you're supposed to be giving more to your children? Because I do think some people feel like I have more than my parents, so that's why I help my children.
And some people do this too. I struggled when I was younger.
I don't want them to have to struggle.
And I don't want them to have to struggle, but they're going to struggle when you leave because they're going to not know how to keep this going.
You just give them a different kind of struggle.
Yes, exactly. They're not going to know how to keep the money going if you just leave them. Okay, I don't care if you leave them $1 million. They're going to run through it before you're even in the grave 5 years.
Which is the same thing that's happening with Dr. Dre's daughter, that she's not, even though she's getting this generational wealth, she has no clue how to build it and grow it. I mean, if she was taught that, she could be making money off the money he gave her already.
Right. That's right.
She could be taking care of her children with that money. And we're the enabling is bad. I fall victim in certain circumstances of doing that, even with my children giving, because they don't ask for a lot. I have all these reasons. They don't ask for a lot, so I want to give. But if I really tie to why are you really giving, it's because I felt like I didn't do this enough. I didn't spend enough time. I haven't seen you.
To make yourself feel complete.
It's to make myself feel like I'm actually a good mother because I pay, and so some of these reasons why you're doing it have nothing to do with the children. It has everything to do with you doing something to make yourself feel a certain way, to feel like you're a good parent. Yeah. To feel like I'm a better parent than now I'm not saying I do that for that reason, but I'm saying these are some of the reasons we may do it, is that to make that I'm doing better than my parents did. They maybe now I'm not making mine struggle. I mean, there's so many reasons.
It's a lot of guilt, though.
It's usually based on guilt.
Because I can recall I went to jail when I was younger and I was in the street and I was gone for 6 months. And remember, there's stair steps. So at that time, they probably was like 3, 4, and 5 years old, or 4, 5, and 6, however. But I left them with my mom, and so she had to take care of them. The guilt behind that. Once I got out, got a good job.
I have to make up for this time.
I bought all type of video games. They cost hundreds of dollars. Every time you looked up, I'm in a clothing store. They have more clothes that they don't even want. They don't even wear. I'm just giving,
and there's so many different reasons why we have that same guilt. Yours is because of that, but I'm not, because I was at work. and I work long hours, and I'm not able to
Yep,
get to the
that
game,
too.
and I'm not
Yep,
able to get to here. I'm working long hours, and their parents are here with
yep.
them and I'm not here. So now I need to make up for that with this and with that. And so whatever why our guilt is, it's that guilt. And it may even be for Dr. Dre that I don't see you, so here's
Right.
the money.
Exactly. True. Maybe.
And we're guessing. We're not saying
Right.
that
That's why I
is. We're
said
just going
maybe.
that we're all human, and some of these
Yeah.
things are very similar, no matter the amount of money.
Mhm.
That these reasons are the same for many people. So I posted something in the group too about tough love, and someone said there's no such, you should never have tough love. And I said, well, maybe I'm calling it tough because sometimes to say no to our children hurts, and that's tough for
It
us.
hurts us. Yeah.
And
It
so
does. Yep.
because you don't want them to be mad at you, and
Yeah.
you don't want them, you've been gone, so you want them to love you. I want to
Mhm.
see I care about you, and I want this, and I want you to see I love you just as much as dad. And then we were divorced, so now I feel like I gotta
Yeah.
make up for this time that you're the divorced child, and these kids have both their parents, and that I love you just as much, so I'm paying to make up for it. And then we aren't really helping our children though.
Yeah, that was my guilt. I was a single mom, dad somewhere else doing him. I left. I went to jail, and then God had to speak to me. And because after a while they started to get older, and they started to play on that.
They play on
They
that
played
you
on that, and the Lord had to smack me, like, "Hey, don't you see him playing on you? Don't you see that? Don't give him nothing else." And that's the tough love, that part when you have to say no with
and that's what I
with tears
meant.
in your eyes.
I didn't mean tough on the
Yeah,
children.
yeah,
It's tough on the
it
parent
was
because we're actually doing it for us. I guess
right.
it's
Yeah.
tough. It is very tough, and we know it's best, but it is sometimes, and it's not for everyone. So I know there's people out there who can
Mhm.
say, "Oh, I did that with my children," and they were. I know other people don't have these issues.
At 21, 21, 22, 23, I have three sons again. My middle one, to me, he's the one that works he like to work hard labor jobs. And if something failed, and I'm tough on him, but if something failed, whether it's a relationship, whatever's going on, he got fired. And if I see him sitting around more than 2 weeks, I step in. Hey, the other kids may not see it, but I might slide them $40, $50. And guess what I say? I let them know where there's some temp services at. Don't come back without a job.
You giving them the money to
And
go out.
I
And
tell you, he don't come back without a job. He don't. He won't. He don't let me down each time. Here, it's your daughter. It's your daughter's birthday. I know you weren't able to give her nothing. I'll pull him to the side. That's me and his thing. Put $100 in here and go take your daughter out. Treat her like a lady. Go get a job. I don't have anything else for you. And I'm not playing.
and that's it.
And I mean it. And they know I mean it. And they go do it. They go do it. Because, like you said, we're thinking future. We're thinking destiny. If I leave tomorrow, you're not going to be able to do a thing. And it's like I failed as a parent, as a mother. No, we're going to have to hurt right now. So I had to watch those tears, and I had to watch that pain, and I had to watch them struggle. As a man, because I'm a woman, I don't know how to raise a man. I know how to raise a child, but the man in him, I didn't know how to do.
And no, women don't have it. I mean, we're
Exactly.
women. We're feminine women. We don't know that. We don't have that. That we can raise character and to be a good human being, and
Right.
to
Mhm.
have a good the things that
Morals.
morals, because that's something that isn't masculine or feminine to be to
Right.
have a moral code about you. But as far as to be a man, and I know there's people who will disagree with that, but I agree with you that we can't, or we'll do it from a woman's perspective of
Right.
what we think a
So,
man
what our
should look
father.
like, what we think a good one should be, or what we saw from our father, which isn't necessarily the same thing a man would teach a child. So And we sometimes have guilt about that.
Yep, we
and
do.
then we're back to doing
Back to
something to
make that up.
to make up for that.
Yeah.
And so we understand where Dre is. We
Yeah.
understand where the child is, and but I'm not gonna say I have all the tools. I know how to fix this once it's gotten to this point when they're 35. Other than just cutting them off, but you look bad in media, and I can see where he would feel like, because I would feel the same way, as versus coming to me, you go to use media as a
To expose.
weapon to expose and to weaponize the media against me, and I am your father.
But that's what these rich spoil, excuse me, because remember, who was that just in the radio? The gospel singer, Kurt Franklin.
Kurt Franklin's
His child
son did
exposed
some-
him because he wanted to discipline him.
and,
you know, now
and
you wanna
Brian
forget-
McKnight's son did that
Yeah.
recently. Brian McKnight's son went to the media, but that's a spoiled rich.
That's what they do now.
They know that they have that as a weapon. Our kids
Yeah.
can go to the media if they want to, but the Channel 7 don't care about you. They go
Not at all. Your mom ain't got no money. She ain't got enough money.
That's not a story. That won't be a news line. Sorry. No, your mother did not create Beats, headphones, buy whatever. So go sit down somewhere. That's not, we don't care about your story. So they know they got to use something else. But they know that they can use the media, and it will be a story, and you will, as a guy said, feel shamed to maybe do something different just to not have the media keep printing this. So, and I know there may be people who are watching and I'm not seeing your comments. That's because I don't see how to get to them. So thank you for tuning in to He Said, She Said. We wanted to be on IntellectualRadio.com. This segment is brought to you by Allstate. If you need life insurance, give Sal a call, whether it's home, life, or auto. He does all insurance. So that's 708-599-5100. Call Sal. And so I do appreciate you guys viewing. And if you had comments, and I know I'd normally read off, but today I'm in a little bit of a struggle with, and I'll struggle with. I see Janice is watching though, and I know Janice is actually how I met Tiff.
Hi,
And Janice, it was part of the Intellectual Radio family too, and you've been a guest on her show. And as a prophetess, is that the right word to use?
Yeah.
It's
okay.
And I've seen her just do some amazing things. I mean, I witnessed one time the phone calls. They were just coming in with people asking questions, needing to be guided. It was a very powerful 55-minute show that day. So you're doing slightly a little something different with this, but you're along the same realm. And so Talk of the Day with Tiff and Ray is going to be Wednesdays at 3 p.m. And so I'm excited about having you on. You're my guest host today. And we're talking about, are you obligated to take care of your kids after the age of 21? And this kind of came up because of the conversation with Dr. Dre. And we were talking about in the group. And anytime one of the when I have hundreds of comments from a topic in the group, and when it gets in the hundreds, I go, okay, that may be something worthy of talking about. And I know I struggle with this nowhere near on the Dr. Dre level, but I struggle with it definitely because of the guilt with my children. And then, but thank goodness they're getting to the ages of they try to work things out themselves before they come to me. At least I don't want to talk about them on there because one doesn't like it, but at least 3 out of 4.
It's always one.
It's always one.
Yeah,
Love them.
Somebody catch it before that. But right now, for me, they borrow. My mom, can I borrow?
Well, I'm okay with borrowing.
If you have
right?
a job, fine. If you don't have a job, I have other questions. How are you going to pay?
How are
me?
you going to play it back?
What are your plans?
But I do think that those are tools to teach them, though, because people borrow from banks. Borrowing isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think from your parents. I do think other nationalities do this. We're just harder on our children for doing it.
Yep.
But they do it on a consistent basis, and there's no fault seen. But I kind of think that is an okay thing because it's teaching you whether you're borrowing to pay for a car, you borrow from financial institutions. Why shouldn't, if you have it, they borrow from you? And we're teaching them a valuable skill set of how will you pay it back. And so I don't think that that's necessarily bad. I do think in our culture it's kind of seen sometimes negatively, but
Let,
sometimes.
let me share this real quick. Before I got to the stage of borrowing, that guilt thing, because to me and my three sons was my team. We only got each other. They'll tell you this is my mom's motto. We all we got. And we all we got went down the drain. Not, really, but because I did this, because we all we got, my son is standing at the bus stop. It's freezing, 4 o'clock in the morning, on his way to work. He has a new baby on the way. My other son lives out in Arlington Heights with his girlfriend. They're walking to work. Guess what we got did?
What?
Tiffany. I went and got co-signed for 2 cars. One for this one that's in Arlington Heights and one for this one that's was living with me. And they jacked my name up. So they only had that one time. That one time. And that's it. So I had to work, what I do now. I had to work to get my own credit back in order and back on track. And so now that they're older and they learn, Mom, can we bag up? It ain't gonna happen. Okay. I gave you that one chance. Both of y'all blew it. Both of y'all blew it, which messed my credit up, which is fine. But you won't say Mama didn't give you a chance.
Right.
But now Mama gonna teach you how to go get your own. That's what I do now. And when you have money, I want my money back. Pay me back. They do. They give me my money back because you shouldn't have said the word borrow.
and
But
I agree.
But I went
totally
up
agree.
that way that the other cultures have went. I've been that way. I did that. I went and got cars for them and me. I had 3 cars in my name.
Well, one difference where our culture at one is a slightly different is they have more, they make more, they have more,
exactly.
they have more. They're growing up from income from their parents.
That's right.
Income given to them. So that's
what we want to do, though.
That's what we want to
leave this legacy and this money. But we always also want to leave that gift. We want that tool. We want to help them activate who they really are, walk in some.
So you did
purpose.
exactly the right thing, and unfortunately,
they weren't adult. They weren't mature enough at the time.
They weren't mature enough, and also, and I don't want to make it sound like it's a crutch, but no. I do think there's absolute other challenges for our boys.
Yeah,
they're a little bit more challenged. Than even our girls in some situations when it comes to finding employment. It's looked on as much harder for them. That's my opinion. I mean, I probably can probably find some real data to that. But I know educational wise, as a mom of boys, that even some educational things they feel like Black boys, what they told my son, he reads slow, he should read last, he won't learn. They told me almost to prepare me that he wasn't going to be as good of a student because he's Black. So our children are faced with some of these things. And so no excuses. Yes, we know you can pull yourself up by the bootstrap and you still got to keep going and you still got to go. So for anyone that wants to say that, I do realize that, but at the same time, they didn't have the necessary tools or the financial means. And sometimes we do, and I know I've done this at my younger age, thought I could do something and pay for something at the time. My dad also co-signed, and I thought I could do it and pay for it because at that moment. And then as we start acquiring more bills and the money doesn't match up to the amount of bills that we acquire, we're going to start falling off.
That's right.
And so that grace is given, but at the same time, we can't afford to make multiple mistakes like that because they cost us. Yeah. And so now teaching you that now you also need to build your own credit because you need your own credit, and having those conversations, and you work in that industry, teaching our children about that at a younger age so they can start off even buying their own earlier and sooner and paying it off themselves is important. So financial literacy, one thing I'm hearing coming out of a lot of this conversation is taking care of our kids. Sometimes it turns out to be financial, that we really need to have more financial literacy conversations with our children, saving money, because we don't have the backup money from families. We aren't living from generational wealth. We don't have Dr. Dre money that we need to really teach our children how to pay themselves as they get paid, when they get paid to pay themselves,
Right.
and include that, so we can step back some if they have those nest eggs.
But what one of your questions was, what age? I don't think there is an age
To
I
stop.
think to stop. I think there's not an age, because I mean, we could fall at any time, and we may need our parents to help us, or our children may be the one have to help us. I don't think there's an age where you can just really say, hey, you're 18
At
years
21,
old,
I'm
you're
really
21.
going hard, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, even 30, because we're still learning. I just became the age of 50 in May.
Oh, happy
Thank
birthday.
you. And I'm yet still learning. Still learning. I mean, everybody is using what Michelle said, becoming.
We're still
When she
becoming.
turned 50, that's what she said, still becoming, because she came into a revelation that it's a continuous thing. It's not gonna stop. We're gonna continue to learn. The more we learn, the more we know, the more we grow.
The more we grow, and the more we can then give back and teach our
Yep.
children, because we know better. But if I'm not learning better myself till 50, why do I expect my children to know?
If I stop learning, stop growing.
Right. So that I love that, and that really does make sense, that this we're continuing to grow, to learn, and we can start also sharing that with our children, that they can make different decisions. And oh, you said something I wanted to touch on. I should have wrote it down, but I did just totally agree with everything you said, and I do think that, oh, the no age limit. And I hadn't thought of that, but if you really think about it, you don't really mind, like you mentioned with your son, when they're helping themselves, you don't mind really helping them,
No.
because when you see that they're doing everything, and you know they're good, and any bank would loan you if you had that credibility. So as long as they have that credibility, and they've earned their credit with you, then why not offer that assistance?
And you said that in the beginning of the show about the banks. So if we have a problem with our children borrowing or coming to get anything from us, then why are we going to the banks getting it? So that means we apparently need some help too somewhere down the line, right? But we want to judge our children. You should have it by now. The bank, what if the bank told you that? When you got
Exactly.
there, you should have 50,000 by now. You should have 100 grand by now. You're 50 years old. What if the bank treated us the way we are treating our children?
We'd never have
We
anything.
wouldn't have anything.
So I do think that and I like how you said it, and I'm going to start even thinking of this as myself, that you're given that credit allowance, that you should be given that is that, like you said, with your children, they paid you back, they pay, and the times that they haven't, then that credit line was now done. I mean that and it won't and for some, like one of my daughters, I would never actually probably do that with. And no, if she hears that, I love you, but I'm not, because the behaviors. I mean,
Exactly.
the credit check is done on
Right,
and the likelihood of me being in the spending habits.
Yeah.
That she lives like a Kardashian on my budget.
And that may be his daughter's issue.
Right.
Because this is my dad. I can do this. I can take
I
the
need
money
to, I
and
should
invest
live
it.
the
I should live
lifestyle like him.
Yeah. And that's a no-no.
Because especially if you're not bringing in the income, he
Yeah.
can still do things that if he spent this much, he can make this much.
Mhm.
There's a financial person that I listen to, Lynn Richardson, and she says that you can spend it if you can make it back. And now I've started kind of using that principle. If I spend this, what are my ways of, and but I've also had to work. I was like, there's one component still that's left off here, because I don't want to always be working to pay back. I need to be able to also build. So I need to slow down the spend. I
Right.
need to be working to
Yeah.
put some aside. And I was like, she
Yeah.
missing one little component with that phrase.
Mhm.
because I found out the hard way. I'm like, wait a minute, this is one cycle that I'm constantly just putting. I want to be banking something, not
That's
always
right. That's
replenishing.
right.
And so I was like, and I may have missed that show. So she may
Mhm.
have given that next lesson. But I think that lesson is there. And I think that's one thing that we need to be teaching our children to save as much as they spend.
Yeah.
And that can help on top of. But so I like that, like what you said, that number shouldn't end at 21. There shouldn't be, but give them the tools though. So don't be the enabling is where it comes in. Have them build a credit base with you. I mean, even
Mhm.
like you said, they pay you back, and they borrow and pay back, and then when you don't pay, then you don't get it if you don't pay back.
You still owe me.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
And that's a life lesson because she wouldn't go back to her dad if these are
right.
life
If they would.
lessons.
Yep.
This is how the bank will treat them. This is how the other lending things are, that if you don't pay back the loan, you don't get another loan.
This is what I teach when I teach credit repair. Your credit report is a report card to those lenders. They're looking at your history with everybody else. They're looking at your spending. They're looking at who you owe, what you owe, the longest person you've had an account with. That's a report card. When your children bring home their grades, this report card reports to you what they have been doing in this segment of the school year. And so when they look at your credit, that's what they're looking and saying, what have this person been doing? Who have they been spending with? They've been overspending. They can't they have 100 inquiries. So nobody won't loan them nothing if they got that many. And I'm not giving you nothing either.
Right. And it's out of love. It's not out of a
Exactly.
punishment. And we have to start seeing that
Yeah,
when we
that's good.
that tough love is love. Take the word tough off of it, I guess. I'm gonna
Yes,
stop
I
looking at
love.
it that way. I'm giving you love.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stop taking away the tough part of it. I think that this show has made me realize it shouldn't be tough because it's what's best for you.
Mhm. Someone told me this before, and they said, "Oh, I don't tell my daughter no because I'm tired of everybody telling her no." I said, "She haven't lived long enough to hear some no's. You better tell her no because if you don't, the world will,
And she
and
won't know
she's
how
not how
to
to
deal
take it."
with
There
it.
you go.
She won't
That's
know
right.
how to deal with it.
Look,
You want to
that's what's
enable her, and you want to arm her with. That's exactly what's happening. You want to arm her with that. You tell me no, this is what I do back. Teach her what you do when someone tells you no. This is exactly
This is
that.
what she did when he told her no. Look what she went to the
She
media.
went to the media. And if you had taught her a different way, and I
Not
know
saying right.
we don't know whether you have or haven't.
Yeah.
We're saying that for the future for us, and I do a lot of this show. This show is for me as much as it is for the people I do the show for. In fact, it is for me. And I'll let you guys thank you come along for the ride with me as I work on healing myself and facing this world and what I want to learn and grow and what I've dealt with in the weeks I bring to you guys, and hopefully you guys can share in that learning too. And so this really has because I have a 15-year-old that I'm still needing to teach this financial literacy to, and and it's to me it's almost weird because it's harder when they're good kids. It's like it all feels easier to tell what you consider to be
Yeah.
that child no because they haven't earned it. Well, how do you
Right.
say no to the ones that are good and they still need that same kind
Mhm.
of and to me that's been what I've struggled with, that he doesn't ask for much, so I want to give it to him, but it still should be no whether I have it or not,
Right.
because and
'Cause you don't want
I'm
to
working
cripple
on
them.
that.
Because you don't want to cripple them.
I don't want to cripple them, so I'm working on that. I'm a work in progress, so I'll listen to how you do it. Share that with me too.
They think that my young men are spoiled. I've heard someone say this, and assuming my son's girlfriend had said it to him. But it's not that he's spoiled. He's now responsible. She wasn't around when I was saying no. Now you're around that I'm there because he has the money to cover this that he's asking me to do for him. And I just get up and do it if I'm available. And they think, oh, they spoiled. No, we built a relationship. You know, they had, I felt like they had
They have
gotten,
credit.
they have
They have
credit with me
credit.
now.
They
And
have
they had
credit with
got
you
me
now.
so bad that I was so angry with them. With those cars and those tickets on the cars. They weren't answering my phone calls. You know, they was talking crazy. Come on, kids talk crazy.
They do.
They was talking crazy. I cut them jokers off, all the way off. Until now they have rebuilt their credit with me.
They have credit with you. So
They have
she's saying that now they get to do these things
Yeah.
because of their credit.
And-
and you didn't
That's
see
right.
where the credit, they had bad credit. And
Right.
where
And
some
if they
being told
get
no.
irresponsible again, I'm gonna apply it again because I'm not gonna hand you nothing. The world ain't gonna hand you nothing either.
I think we too sometimes see other people's situation through the lens of how we were taught or how we.
That's
So
right.
I didn't get it. So now you
Yeah.
spoiled because I mean, and I remember once my ex mother-in-law telling me, I told her something that my then husband had said, and she was like, "That's how we saw it." And she was like, "I didn't do that because I was trying to teach him that. I had no other choice."
Mm.
She was like, if I had another choice, I wouldn't have done that. But he was
Wow.
telling me as
Right.
the
That
wife,
was
but
his view.
my mother did that, my mother did that, and my mother did this. And she
That's
was like,
good.
and she was like, oh wow. She was like, no, I didn't have a choice. I was a single mother, had to do this and had to do that and had to, but it had I had any other way.
Right.
But we sometimes get less. So then he's going on like she is telling him you spoiled because my mother. But her mother may have even come back and said, well, had I had someone like that, I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
I mean, we really do.
That's what me and my co-host, we're gonna meet her. That's what we were talking about. I said the Lord also spoke this to me to be open and be aware that however many of you all are in one room, don't think people are going to see your view, your eyes, your lenses from your angle and your view of life. Be open to their angle and their view, and then the next person's angle and the next person's view. And here it is, they're in the same house, and he had his view on his mom, and she had her view on why she did what she did. Everybody's angle and view is different.
And that really can help you heal. I will say changing my angle and the view has really helped me with some relationships because in that moment I will have to stop thinking about how they made me feel, how I'm feeling. But are they doing that? Like what do they see? Why might they, what were they going through at that time? And when I go through that, then I start to understand and see it differently when I start to look at it from their point of view. And it's easier for me to accept that it's not because of me that they're doing it to me.
Right.
It's they're doing it because of what they
What
see
they
and
want,
do
how
and
they
want
see it.
and how they see
Yeah.
it. And it takes some of the pain and the sting off of
Yeah.
that it's not really about me that they're
Yeah.
even doing this.
Yeah. That's good.
And so sometimes when we're dealing with people, we, in order to understand and help our situations and work on our relationships, we have to tell the story from their point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it from that point of view, and can sometimes help.
And that's funny because when I wrote my first book,
You have books.
yeah.
What books? Tell me
You
about
know-
your books.
Oh, you hear that, Earl? I've been how many years? Listen, when I wrote it, I didn't care if it was hard for me to write it at first because there are many people a part of the story. But I had to be clear to everyone. This is my story, and this is my view. It's my angle. They right here.
Let me see.
They right here.
Share with He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. And, let us see the books.
Okay.
Okay, so you
Here's
have
one book.
The Process. So this takes us through, the name kind of is self-explanatory. It takes us through the process,
Mm-hmm.
your journey, Born with Purpose. I love that by Tiffany Ty. Oh, okay. And what's the other?
And this
The
one is a
life
prayer book.
Of an intercessor. I don't know what an intercessor is. Lord, teach us how to pray. What is an intercessor for us
Intercessor.
Catholic school girls who weren't taught those words?
An intercessor is someone who intervenes and stand in the gap for someone else. So, in other words, if you have a weak moment, and you're sick, or you just having a weak moment, a down day, I'll come in with some type of faith. Uh, with not some type, but I'm coming in with faith. I'm gonna pray to God on your behalf. I'm gonna intervene and intercede for you, intercept anything that's coming your way. I'm going to be that sister that's going to stand there and take that
And
for
stand
you
in the gap
and
for
stand in
you.
the gap for you.
Oh, I love that.
The
I love that.
This one is the journey,
Okay.
and this is really a small book, a small bits and pieces of, because you can't put it all in one book. But the process is, it talks about where I came from, as far as being on drugs, selling drugs, going to the penitentiary, all the way to getting married, going to my husband being murdered, being a widow at 28, and then finding God later.
Wow,
Uh,
what a story.
yeah, and then finding God later, and becoming and
That's
becoming.
all in that book?
Yeah,
You said that's
yeah.
more.
That's why I said bits and pieces. But the Lord had me share this because there are people in that place right now that may have thought, just like me, I never thought that I would be sitting here, put it like that. When I say on the street, I was on the street. I was deep in the street. Just like you may walk down the street and see somebody, if you go in certain neighborhoods, and them standing on the corner, shooting dice and selling drugs. That was me. I mean, you probably couldn't imagine me doing that, standing on, but yeah, that was me, out fighting, gang banging, and all those things. Just really no hope at all. And it took me to lose my husband, and that still really wasn't enough. 2 years later, then I lost my father. I still had no understanding. I thought I was doing good, but stop selling drugs, stop selling my body, stop doing all these things, abusing myself. I got a job now, and I got a new guy, and that wasn't enough for God. It's just like, I have a call for you. I have a call. And what's a call? I don't know. You talking to me, and I was frustrated with God. I was angry. Like, what is you doing? You stopping my life? You keep on intervening. What you want from me? That was my question. Like, I was real with him. What do you want from me? I know it's you that's stopping everything that I'm trying to do. I tried to start my own medical billing business and all of that. I've been an entrepreneur all my life, but I was using it for the gift of using my gift for the enemy, and not for the gift for the kingdom. And that's when the process really began. It's painful, but it's necessary.
I love it. I love it. So how can they get the books?
They can email me at tiffanythompson41@yahoo.com.
We're gonna put that in the comments in case it's hard to write that down right away. I'm gonna do it after the show because, as I told you all, I can't see the comments to like refer to it right now. But we're gonna put that the email in there so you guys can get the books. And I would love for you to tune in to Talk of the Day with Tiff and Ray. It's going to be Wednesdays at 3 p.m. And like I said, we have just so many shows. We have a cute. That's not the right word. Very interesting. I don't know what word I want to use. Cute, interesting, fun. There's so many. What are those words? Adjectives I would like to throw on to describe the shows that are coming up. But besides Talk of the Day with Tiff and Ray, which will be Wednesdays at 3 p.m., we currently have Women of Wealth. She kind of started a couple weeks ago. Women of Wealth, that is Friday at 6 p.m. We have The Brain Truth, which is starting with Allison Jordan on Tuesdays. We have 3 shows starting on Tuesdays, which is kind of interesting. Tuesdays is going to be fun. So we have The Brain Truth with Allison Jordan. She's at 8 p.m. And I could have put those in order, but I won't because you'll be fun to figure out what time what is. But The Brain Truth, it is the truth, the talks, and the triggers is what she'll be talking about on The Brain Truth. And it will be really dealing with mental illness and the effect. She is someone who, as recently as 2019, was in a mental hospital, and so she'll really talk about her journey and what she's gone through. Very interesting uh, person, and I don't know if you may know Drew Sidora. She I know is on one of the reality shows. Allison Jordan is her sister. She's also manages her. I mean, she's an incredible woman, really incredible her story. So she'll be here to tell that story, the brain truth, which will be Tuesdays at 8 p.m. We have media exclusive that's coming up on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. You may be familiar with Leah Lukey R because she's been part of the intellectual family for many years, but she's coming to a new day, new time. And she brings us the hip hop artists, all different artists of any, whether it's hip hop, whether it's actors, whether she really has the pulse on the media exclusives. So that's Leah Lukiar, and her new time with us will be Tuesdays at 4 p.m. And we have a show called Lucy. I was like, why Lucy? And she was like, I love Lucy, and everything brought about Lucy art. It was a very interesting reason why she has the name Lucy, and there's an acronym now for Lucy. I don't know it yet because I'm going to find out Tuesdays at 7 p.m. when Catherine comes to Intellectual Radio. Fun, really interesting perspective of things. So I love just it's so dynamic and different, and some things are similar, some things are so different, how people will bring to you the different topics and things that we have. And I mentioned Alonzo, hilarious. I'm telling you, before his show, Mondays at 8 p.m., before his show comes up, I want you to go to YouTube and pull up Alonzo Ruffin. His brother, you may be familiar with his brother, John Ruffin, he of Theater 47, who's brought you many plays over the years. Dreamgirls, absolutely one of my favorite John Ruffin. I went and saw that about 3 times. But Alonzo was funny. If I could say funny, he's funny. Funny, you got to listen. Go check him out, and he'll be Mondays at 8 p.m. And so those are just the new shows. And I haven't even brought up the huge amount of shows we already have at Intellectual Radio, but we're going to be bringing you something new, something fun, as well as my dear Tiff here will be bringing you the talk of the day with Tiff and her co-host Ray, and they'll be here Wednesdays at 3 p.m. So it's been so nice having you here. I've enjoyed our conversation. I've learned. I always, like I said, you bring such a authentic perspective. You're very honest about your past, which then I think allows, and people will see this with the show, the vulnerability you bring to share with us, so we can feel comfortable with the things that we need to deal with in life, that you share so much with us, so we can feel comfortable with the things that we need to deal with in life, that you share so much with us from that place of healing, that you work on yourself and it helps us work on ourselves through you, and then being the intercessor. And I can tell where the show is the intercessor. Your whole show is an intercessor. And I see where your show ties into you being that, because that's exactly what this show will be for people. It'll be your act of intercessing for us, and that'll be Wednesdays at 3 p.m. So I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And I want you to put in the comments how to get the books. I can't wait to read them. I do love to read, and this year I've been doing a lot better reading. My reading has gone on the wayside because of Netflix. I blame it all on Netflix, that you keep bringing me these shows that I want to binge watch 8 seasons of. So it ties me into TV when it should be tying me into books. But what I've done, thank goodness, is every time I've had a guest on my show that has a book, I stop my TV and read their book. And that has been a good encouragement for me to pull myself from these TV shows that call me into 8 seasons, and I can just binge watch 30 minutes. Woo, I love binge watching the show on Netflix. Y'all can still tell me what y'all watching, though. In the comments, tell me what y'all watching, so I go back and watch it. I'm gonna read too, but I am gonna go back and watch the show. So share with me what you're watching, and then I want you to come back to Intellectual Radio, because we have, like I said, all these shows that you will find something that you like, and if they're talking about something, it could be the same time, but you're going to hear it in a whole nother perspective. I mean, we really do have just so many shows that are a variety of where a person can be in life and can help you out. So I'm really excited about the shows in the lineup, and I'm going to do a whole nother show. Maybe next week. That's what I'll do. I'll talk about the present shows we have, because there may be a show that you haven't connected to that once I tell you, come back next week so I can connect you to the show for you, because it's here at IntellectualRadio.com. And so I want to say thank you to our super producer, Earl Winfrey, who not only produces the show, but made this incredible platform for us to talk, to heal, to learn, to grow, and to feed our brain every single 24/7, guys, 24/7. We have shows playing here at IntellectualRadio.com, but I'm going to be back on Sunday. So you can listen to all of them. And you also go to Tampa, come back to me. I'm going to be here at Sundays, 2 p.m. here on IntellectualRadio.com. I want to see you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, all of them. Thinking to the podcast. Thank you, Tim.